This season marks a new beginning. Witness the raw power, iconic sound, and pure speed from the historic Lotus 79. Experience the competition and glory days of early 80s open-wheel action. Watch as drivers wrestle these ground effects cars into submission. Drivers will face off wheel to wheel. For some, it's a chance at redemption. For others, an opportunity to make a statement. All sharing the same goal, to be crowned champion. Who will be victorious tonight? The Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel starts now.
We are all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Competition, commitment, excitement. This is Lionheart. From Sonoma Raceway, it is time. The Global SimRacing Channel's coverage of Season 4 of the Lionheart Retro Series, presented by the DMLC Racing Channel. This is the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma, and all of the simulated retro Lotus 79 action. The green flag, the victory donut, streams your way live as it happens right here in the iRacing Esports Network. From the land of the finest vino America has to offer, welcome to another GSRC broadcast and the Sim Experience Countdown to the Green. Alongside of the banker, Brian Yadzik, I'm Jason Galvin, joining you up in the virtual press box high above the rolling hills of Sonoma and overlooking the bays to San Francisco and Oakland for tonight's HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma action. Sean Ambrose has director duties, of course. As always, we can use the great cameras provided to us by our good friend Dougie Beer. Tonight marks the halfway point in the season for the Lionheart Retro Series, and for the second time in history, we roll into wine country, Sonoma, California, just north of the San Francisco Bay, one of the most picturesque circuits in the country. Sonoma has seen many changes through the years. For more on tonight's track, let's take a look at the GSRC Track Guide.
Welcome to Sonoma Raceway. One of California's most famous road courses, it resides just north of San Francisco. It's been host to a wide variety of styles of racing, including sports cars, IndyCars, motorcycles, and even drag racing. But in recent decades, it's become most well known for holding one of NASCAR's rare road course weekends. For most tracks, this cornucopia would be a stretch, but considering the array of 5 different layouts to choose from, it's quite easy for the circuit to be adapted to any series needs. Most of the layouts clock in at around 2 to 2.5 miles in length and always feature an impressive amount of elevation change. This means many of the corners present the driver with a blind entry or apex. Some of these have a very distinct visual look, making them instantly recognizable. Corners such as the chute and the final hairpin feature street course-like walls surrounding the track, while the carousel is both picturesque and challenging. With few long straights, passing is often considered very difficult, but it rarely leaves races with a lack of action. Mistakes can be easy to make, offering opportunities for the brave. And it's not just the track itself which is tough. The pit entry's narrow path requires precise driving for those looking to make up time and leapfrog their competitors during stops. With more than 40 years of racing under its belt, Sonoma has become a staple for West Coast race fans. And what could be better than a glass of vino on a sunny hillside while the sound of engines echo around you?
Welcoming back in now my broadcast partner for the night, my good friend, the banker, Brian Yazik. And Yaz, Sonoma, you talk about a technical track, more challenging than most would assume, I think, when you just look at the layout or maybe even watch a race on TV. And particularly, as you and I learned last night in the IndyCar side of things, the elevation changes play a big part in this track. What's the key to success tonight?
Well, Jason, the key to success here tonight is honestly, with the way that the track raced, and as you and I both found out last night, honestly, it's probably just keeping all four tires on the asphalt. These Lotus 79s, they don't make good off-road vehicles. There are other vehicles on the iRacing service that are much better at handling jumps and elevation changes if you so want to go down that way. But here you go. You look at it from the outside, kind of the big level view there, 12 turns, 2.53 miles or 4.072 kilometers for all of for that way all the worldwide production there. The biggest secret though, turn 11, and I think you'll agree with me, Jason, because there are a lot of areas in this track that you can kind of try to make a move, but there's not a lot of good passing areas. So really all you have to do is block probably one or two areas. But the key is turn 11. If you could prevent the dive bomb going into turn 11 and kind of use the remaining other corners to kind of make everything work out, that's kind of the thing where I was going with that. Sorry, I apparently just lost where I train of thought went. But if you could block the final corner there, that horseshoe there at the end, turn 11, block off of that, or make your moves off of that. Catch drivers that aren't paying attention out there. Catch them out by surprise. You see them out. The biggest one was NASCAR a couple years ago. Tony Stewart and Denny Hamlin. Denny had to know Tony was going to send it. Ooh, boy, he did. And and speaking of sending it, let's kind of talk about the countdown to green, because it's brought to you by the Sim Experience AccuForce steering system with the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the Real Thing. To check out the entire Sim Experience line of products, head on over to simexperience.com.
You are currently watching qualifying here for the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma. And why don't we take a look at the point standings, because that's why we're all here, right? You want to be a champion, gotta win the big races. And this is going to be an important one if it's anything like last night. And right now, Ryan Otis is your points leaders. We look at the Lionheart Retro Series point standing presented by DMLC Racing Channel. Sage Karam is second in points, and I just had to go double check. He is not entered. He said he would miss this week. I just wanted to make sure. So big night here for Ryan Otis with a chance to open things up. George Sandman sits in third. The Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, had himself a solid top 10 run last night in IndyCar, is in fourth. Little Train, Lionel Callisto up to the fifth position there, a winner back at the Pocono. As we slide on over now, take a look at the team standings. These are presented by our good friends at HyperX. We're all gamers. HyperX is here for you. James Paulson, Ryan Otis, and Dustin Wardlow. That is the Raven Motorsports Black team. That is the points leader over Raven Motorsports Silver of George Gonzalo, Travis Jagenleiter, and Sage Karam. Guys, I love you both, Travis and George. I used to be the guy there in front of Karam. He's much better, and I'm here to tell you right now, boys, that without Sage, your teammates are going to open up an even bigger lead tonight. I feel pretty good about that. Yazik, thoughts?
Yeah. That's like saying that
Right.
deserts have sand.
I was like, no offense to George and Travis, but the Otis Wardlow combo, pretty solid in these cars. Senrock Esports in the battle for third, which is like the only battle it feels like in team standings, and that's totally fine. Senrock Esports sits in third right now, just ahead of Unacceptable Racing.
Let's take a look at the Rookie of the Year standings presented by Butt Kicker. There you've got classy Jason Bossy up there leading the Rookie of the Year standings. Trying to make a good charge of it, kind of that slow, continuous charge as the season has wore on. And there you kind of look at this just bottleneck between, you got a tie for second between Malone there and Chris Reagan. And then you go down to, or not a tie, sorry, that graphic threw me off. But you see right here, actually fourth through the sixth spot there. These three spots kind of separated on the standings by about 14, which on track, not that super far away from each other. And these drivers do tend to have a tendency of running with each other. Tommy Ryan, Richie Hurd, Ricky Hart, a lot of the guys tend to be grouped together
And you're not
on
kidding.
the track.
I hadn't thought about that till you just said that, But then I looked and I met Trevor Malone, Jason Bossy. Like, it feels like they're always in the same group together.
Well, and you wonder why this Rookie of the Year standing has been so tight all year round. Is because, I mean, all of these guys are used to racing around each other. So you get to see all of those, kind of that give and take and the ebb and the flow as the season goes on. But, Jason Bossy, a very steady rise up the Rookie of the Year standings and also the point standings as well.
The Lionheart Racing Series is powered by HyperX. It's the premier open-wheel racing league on iRacing. Oversees two great services, the Lionheart IndyCar Series presented by First Medical Equipment, and the featured series tonight, that's the Lionheart Retro Series presented by our good friends over the DMLC Racing Channel and Mark Cohn. Both series honor the memory of the late and phenomenal Dan Weldon. So we take a look at the series details, and for that we'll turn it over to Brian Yazik.
Yeah, let's take a look at those series details brought to us from -273, the premier name in karting gloves, industry-leading gloves, super lightweight, super durable, made of breathable poly spandex. Whether you're a kart or a sim racer, -273 gives you the control to reach victory lane. For more information on -273's full line of gloves and apparel, visit www.-273.biz. And also, don't forget, we got for promo code LHRS, 25% off the orders. There you see, round 9 of 18, halfway point in the season, 2 teardrops, meaning that we've got 2 drops in the season standings to kind of flow those out, the bad races out. I definitely know I used one of mine last night in the IndyCar Series, using the Lotus 79, the old ground pounder design based off of the Lotus Formula One entry. Setup is an adjust fixed setup with cash and prizes totaling $6,061. Wow. Nope. $6,671. See, there we go. I'll get it right sooner or later. I remember my first broadcast.
Yeah, it's a good thing you don't work with money every day or anything.
Yeah, no. Yeah, that's all right.
This is the second race here at Sonoma. We ran here last year. Sage Karam was your race winner. He beat Alex Saunders. Sage was also the pole sitter, so we're guaranteed to have a first-time winner here tonight. Sage also led all 50 laps of that race. I'm not going to tell you that tonight the race for the win is going to be more exciting than it was last year because there's this guy named Ryan Otis lurking. But I'm going to tell you right now that just based on qualifying times, second through about 8th or 9th is going to be like tighten that chin strap, pull down on those seat belts, make sure your Hans device is clicked in on both sides, and hang on to it.
Be in a medium t-shirt.
That is pretty tight as you look at the scoring pylon there on the left side.
Yep.
On PSRC. That's Paul Jenkins just pulling off right there. 91
Bruno!
car. Our friend Bruno. Boy, man, I got to tell you, there's a lot of things in life I'd be willing to give up for a couple of weeks if our friend Bruno could just get one good race. Like, he's been really good a lot of times, and then it feels like Brian and I are like, hey, Bruno's having a good race. And then Bruno gets in trouble. And most of the time, it's not been his fault. So,
yeah. So if you have a voodoo doll out there, Bruno, you need to stop it.
Yeah.
Stop it right now.
Leave Bruno alone. Hey, let's take a look at our weather here as we finish up qualifying. I'm going to tell you, Ryan Otis is our pole sitter. I promise. Let's not spoil it for you. 80 degrees is the air temp. 109 is the track temp. Woo! Get your sunscreen out. By the way, if you've never been to this track, I worked drag race this year. Sunscreen, pivotal. You're like, oh, we're on the water. It's like right from this aerial view here. It's like just about 5 degrees up. You're like 2 miles from the ocean. You're like, I don't need sunscreen. Yeah, you do. It's hot. That's pretty much all you need to know about this race here. Sunny and hot, and that is going to bring us to our starting lineups. And it is Ryan Otis. The grid's brought to you by our good friends at Butt Kicker. Ryan Otis put her on the pole. 121.814 for the defending series champion. That is the 10th pole of Ryan Otis's career. ties him with Sage Karam for second all-time most pole positions earned in the Retro Series. Matt Taylor in his series debut put her P2. Look out. Aaron Morgan, Richie Hearn in row 2, Jason Bossi, David Kleiman row 3. Mike Rasmus, who has been phenomenal, podium finishes in both of his starts next to Chris Reagan in row 4, and Little Train and James Paulson, row 5.
There we go, row 6, Bruno, the 11th spot. Bruno Miranda with Dean Mardi Gras Mall to the outside there in the 12th spot. Ricky Hart, Dustin Bordlow making up row 7. Row 8 going to Travis Jagerliner and Paul Jenkins. Series founder George Anzaldo there in the 17th spot with Scott Holmes to his outside in the 18th. Vinny Ducana 19th with Tommy Ryan in 20th. And I'm just going to keep rounding them out here on the backside. Tyson Landis 21st. Ryan Corns 22nd, and Adam Forever Young in the 23rd, riding shotgun, which is hilarious because that's the team that he drives for.
I get it.
Aha.
I don't get much, but I get that. 23 cars. It's kind of a light field here in the Retro Series. And yes, Sean, I'll acknowledge you on air without telling everybody what you just said, but you're probably absolutely right about that. 23 is a little light for the Retro Series, but this, as we mentioned, super difficult track. And so I'm sure there's some guys who were just like, nope, not doing it. Hey, let's take you through the onboard cameras here as we roll on our pace laps and get ready for this one. And we'll start with the HyperX onboard camera. We mentioned him, the Candyman can, Bakersfield's own DeWars Fine Candies and Chews. Dustin Wardlow with the HyperX onboard. Whatever you play, however you play it, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Use the promo code LionHRT15 at hyperxgaming.com.
Head on over to the S Pro Designs onboard camera there. Ryan Otis, we're going to be taking a look at him. There we go. Ryan Otis. It's all right. We're good. And you know what? Get yourself a racing identity. Visit Espo Designs at Espo Designs. I'm assuming that's their main handle across all social media platforms with a unique name like that. I'm sure there won't be too hard to find.
HyperX onboard goes to our good friend Mike Rasmus, a pair of podium finishes. Looking to go 3 for 3 here. Mike Rasmus and the HyperX onboard. A big thanks to the kind folks at HyperX for the generosity, giving away nearly $1,000 worth of merchandise this year to Lionheart viewers during the Indy month. And George Sandman is not here. Was supposed to be our last onboard. That's the Turn Racing onboard, merging the gap between real and sim racing. Promo code at turnracing.com is Lionheart10. You're going to have to just assign somebody else the Turn Racing onboard. We'll get to you on that one. Hey, let's bring in our good friend DJ Clark. He is our pit reporter. DJ, we've got a half lap left to pacing here. Welcome to the Global SimRacing Channel and Lionheart Series broadcast. What part of the track do you think is most important in tonight's race?
Well, for me, I'm going to be watching the exit of Turn 6 and down into Turn 7. You guys called it that 11 is going to be the best passing zone on the track, but I think if you can get the power down just right coming down that downhill left-hander, you may be able to see something coming into the double apex right-handed hairpin of Turn 7.
All right, DJ, that is the carousel down what is the shutdown area on the drag strip. That is a great passing spot. It wasn't last night in the IndyCar because the car was a little aero tight in the carousel, but you're absolutely right. Could be a good spot here. Great to have DJ on board for this one. Pace car is off. Ryan Otis with his 10th career pole will lead the field. Boy, Matt Taylor was like, I want to go, and Ryan Otis was like, psych! And Ryan Otis will lead us to the green. And man, Matt Taylor was sleeping because of that. Welcome to the Lionheart Series, bud. You are already back to 4th place. Aaron Morgan, Jason Bossi in the 2nd and 3rd. Taylor, Richie Hearn, everybody clean so far. Had a big wreck here last night, but so far we're clear up the hill, and we head into what I like to call the roller coaster because, man, do you feel like you're on Viper at Six Flags when you come through here?
Couple cars putting it off just on
Bruno.
the exit. Whoa, 3 wide, Bruno! He makes it work through there. Drivers working their way up here through the carousel. Really easy spot leading into that corner to put a tire off. Really mess up the whole flow of the corner and your race. But we are smooth and clear as we work through the back half of the field.
And one time last night, I made the mistake of talking to our teammates going into the carousel and forgot to hit the brake pedal. And oh, let me tell you, I thought I was going to get introduced to Elvis about 500 feet into that corner.
Did John Forrest say that he saw Elvis at 1,000 feet?
He did, yeah. I was going to cut it in half, trust me. Ryan Otis brings us down. You see him flash through the tribute to the old Penske schemes everybody knows and loves from the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. And Ryan Otis will lead lap number 1 of the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma. Going 50, just like the IndyCars did last night, 125 miles. They tell me, now, yes, this is important because remember in the IndyCar now we have tools and we use a little more fuel. And so it was a 2-stopper no matter what. They tell me a fuel stint is 23 laps. Look at our butt kicker race analysis here. 23. Do you think anybody tries to stretch it? You almost wonder with the pace lap, if you get to 24, can somebody kind of, baby it around in one stopper this deal?
Well, from a strategy standpoint, you're really barking up the right tree there, because if you push that fuel and maybe run it a little light, you can really sink your teeth into that one-stop strategy. But you push it too hard, you run it long. I mean, 2 stops here with the pit delta, there's no way you're making that up.
And pit lane here is excruciatingly slow because you come into it down the hill here into turn 11, the hairpin at the bottom of the hill. And then you got to go all the way around the outside, and it's just terrible.
And and that's Sonoma, kind of in a nutshell. You kind of get this up and down, ebb and flow. Aaron Morgan really took it wide there into the carousel and kind of saw the final corner there. Tight right-hander, slowest part on the speedway. Every driver working their way back up the hill. And this is just what you talk about. You get used to the flat, and then now you're way up above where you started. And then you kind of dive down here. Let's go on board here. Let's just show you exactly what we mean. This corner here, really tricky. And then because it sets out so good, you flow out that way, you're bringing it back in. The car there's so many spots here that the car can just leave you standing or just leave you kind of stranded out there.
This is Class 2 Jason Bossy you're on board with, trying to run down Aaron Morgan. Matt Taylor's right there as well. So is Richie Hearn and David Clymer, and then there's a little bit of a gap.
Going through here. This is kind of a really fun part, especially on lighter fuel and Indy cars. Qualifying, they're telling me that some of the brave ones weren't lifting through there.
I got through their flat once in qualifying.
Was that the lap that you ran off, or was that the one that you made?
Yeah, I ran off down there in the second to last corner that everybody just went through in turn number 10 as we look at Little Train in the 8th position, trying to hold off Mike Rasmus. Yeah, I got through there flat and then got to turn 10 and ran off. And the next lap, I didn't get through the S's flat, but I got to turn 10 wide open. And as a result, well, we all know last night wasn't phenomenal for us. But hey, we made the best of it, didn't we?
We did. We learned a lot. We grew,
Hey, look, 14th felt like a win to me. I did the math, and I figured if I didn't spin here, which I'd never spun in my life in turn 4 Sonoma. I mean, and I'm not even kidding you. Like, years and years of racing here, various different platforms and whatnot, have never spun in turn 4. Uh-oh, got a battle. Done with my story. Anyways, it was rough. Rough night. Richie Hearn trying to close in on Matt Taylor, who was trying to close in on Jason Bossy. And it feels like Aaron Morgan's holding everybody up, but he's faster than everybody. And I don't know if you noticed that last night, Brian, but that's just kind of how it worked here. It's like the first car had all the advantage.
Well, and it's kind of like what I was trying to allude to, apparently, before I lost my train of thought after it left the station earlier.
Is that before or after the dog started barking at you?
That was, which time?
Right.
Because I heard your dogs, the dogs in my head, those are always barking.
My dog heard you talk and was like, whoa, whoa.
Yeah, exactly. But so I guess before that, but you can see as long as you can get around a very crucial couple corners, you can keep a whole train of cars behind you. and turn 11 down there being a kind of a crucial component of it. I would probably say exit of the carousel is probably the other spot that you really got to be on it on the exit. As you saw, was that Jason Bossy? Yeah, that was Jason Bossy. Get the tire off there, head down into turn 3, heading uphill now. So look at this, you go uphill, downhill. We're go on board here. Rasmus. There you see, you just have to wait, blind corner, you're going downhill, then you head out to Jason's part here on the drag strip. HyperX on board. HyperX bringing us these wonderful views.
Well, you saw Rasmus kind of peek out there, right? I did that a few times last night. That's almost like a game you have to play, where even when you're not close enough, you peek your nose like you are, and then you hope that causes the other car to run it a little deep, and you can maybe cut under. It's just so tough here. That's the thing about this track. We talked about it coming in, right? You look at the track map, or you drive here in practice, and you're like, man, this is like, okay, fun track. There's some challenging parts, but plenty of passing opportunities, right? Between the drag strip and here, where Rasmus looks like he's going to get it done, and he is. But then you drive the car in a race, and you try to apply those concepts that you learn, and it's like, man, this is not nearly as, I don't want to say easy, but easy as you thought it would be.
I mean, Sonoma is really compared, from my growing up, or my upbringing here, because I was a big NASCAR person versus the open field kind of through my youth. So you look at Sonoma versus Watkins Glen, the easy comparison that I had growing up. And Watkins Glen it's kind of the original Rover if you really think about it. Not too much elevation changes, a lot of fast sweeping corners. And then you go here where it's totally different. You get uphill, downhill in the same corner. And then just the technical aspect, the fact that this track just wears you out. I was, you and I both were paying attention on the Discord after the race and in the team chat, and guys were gassed last night.
I was this car around. Toast last night after 50 laps. 50 laps, it's a long race here, and these guys got to remember that as we're only on lap 6 of 50 in this car right now. 50 is a long time in this car at this track, and to muscle a car around and hit all your spots. And look at this mess of cars that Mike Rasmus has just closed in on, by the way. Ever since he got around Little Train, Rasmus has just put everybody else in the crosshairs, and he's cut that distance in half. I think he's going to run into the same frustration that many people have run into, where he's going to catch up to the back of Chris Reagan here, and then it's going to be like, all right, where do you go now?
Well, and here's the other thing to pay attention to. Rasmus was very fast in practice. Just missed it maybe a little bit in qualifying, but that last lap, he was the fastest car on track, and he is definitely faster than pretty much every car in front of him for the last lap or two, even before the 22.5 that he just ran.
And he was also in the line at the start that got kind of backed up by Matt Taylor, because Taylor kind of gunned it and Ryan Otis was not ready to go yet. And as a result, that whole line dropped back, a couple of spots. So Rasmus at one point was down 3 from his starting spot. Now he's down 1. And we just said fastest car on the track, closing in on both Chris Reagan and I think that's David Clymer in front of Reagan. Richie Hearn's up there as well.
And if you might have, if you're a fellow or a consistent watcher of the GSRC broadcast, you hear that name Rasmus there and you think, hey, where does that sound familiar? Mike Rasmus is racing on the Sunday broadcasts of the Lotus 79 series, and he is, I think Sean and I were talking about it pre-race, he's a pretty hot shoe in that series as well. So, you have an experienced driver, good, very high I rating for the road with a 4.99 safety rating. And you couple that with some speed and some comfort with the car, and it's not really surprising to see that slow and steady march, but I'm going to be paying attention to the same thing that you're going to be paying attention to probably about the next lap or lap or two. What's he going to do when he get there? It's kind of like a dog chasing a car. Okay, I got there, now what?
Well, and what else we just ran into, and this happened yesterday too. I don't know if you noticed, coming up the hill there, some cloud cover has shaded the front half of the track, and it felt like, to me at least, more than at a normal track on the iRacing service, that the cloud cover here really affected the track. And it's partly cloudy, but the first, I want to say 4 corners of the track now are under heavy cloud cover, and that came and went during the IndyCar race last night, and for me at least, really made a difference. I was 3 or 4 tenths quicker a lap when the clouds settled in. Even though I felt like the car drove worse because you were carrying more speed, it was definitely much faster. Let's take a look at everybody rolling on through here. And by the way, once again, apologies to our good friend Ryan Otis, but he's what we like to call gone right now. He has checked out on Aaron Morgan, almost a 4-second lead as they come down the front straight here on lap number 9 now of 50.
What you're saying is Ryan Otis has checked out of the Hotel California.
Yes, he has. Mike Rasmus in the 6th spot right now in the Sunday Grand Prix standings that we were just talking about. So, certainly a very talented driver. That's an open setup league. Remember, we talked to him after his first race, the challenges and differences between an open setup versus a fixed setup league, and how he was having to adjust to driving the car the way other people wanted it driven versus adjusting the car to himself. Let's take a look. Got a battle going on farther back right now between Dean Mardi Gras Mall, there you go, and James Paulson.
Oh, just in front of him, the Candyman slides off, and I believe it's kind of what we alluded to just a little bit ago. Put a tire off in the wrong spot. You really got to set that corner up nice and wide to get it right, and you're going to watch here that right rear tire just gets a little too far, and as soon as it's gone, and away you slide. No damage, just a little bit of injury to the Pride.
And he did a great job saving it, but then when he tried to get back on track, watch this, he spins it again.
Oh,
and it cost him another 5 or 6 spots. So and everybody keep your eye on Dustin Wardlow now, because he is going to have a march through the field. He's all the way back in P20 is Wardlow, and you're right, the car does look okay, but he's about 4 seconds back even now of Tommy Ryan in 19th. So that one hurt a lot for Dustin Wardlow, who was running up in the 11th spot. Richie Hearn went around, and I think David Clymer was part of it. I just heard David Clymer apologize, and he is indeed. There's a little bit of net coat there, I think. Here it is, coming up the hill. Oof. It looked like, was that Matt Taylor who had an issue in front? Matt Taylor checked up into the corner. Richie jumped on the brakes. Clymer got into him, but it definitely looks like there's some net code involved.
Well, it's like classic stack up. You go into that corner, driving it, just how you did the lap before, and then maybe the driver before you just has a little checkup, or you brakes a little sooner than you expect, and it throws your whole lineup.
But there was definitely net code as well, and Richie Hearn's car looks okay. So does David Clymer's, for that matter. So to see. Boy, that really opened up a gap between Clymer and Taylor, though, who now has a chance to look at Jason Boss.
That did break up
Chris
that
Reagan
angle.
pitting.
That's all right.
So this is definitely a two-stopper, obviously.
So he said, you know what? I'm not even going to try and save fuel.
Yeah.
I'm just going to play to my strengths. I like that. Good for you, Chris. Rookie of the Year points leader.
The only car on pit road. Boy, we talked about how long pit road is. Look at this. He's still not to his spot. Still not. There he is.
I mean, Three Dog Night said it best. One is the loneliest number, but it's either, he's either doing something right and we just don't get it, or we all see it and he doesn't get it. And the funniest part is we're going to find out over the next, let's say just under an hour, who was right and who's wrong.
35 seconds on pit road for Chris Reagan. He is out and away. By the way, we should mention Ryan Corns had an issue early on, and so did Scott Holmes. Ryan Corns is out of this race, and Ryan Corns might not have even taken the green based on what I'm seeing. He did not, no. And Scott Holmes is a lap down. Not sure what happened to Scott, but he has lost a lap and has already spent 2 minutes on pit road as well. Taking a look here at Tommy Ryan, Travis Jagerlander running in on him. As we look at these two come down, you see Dustin Wardlow in the background starting to creep up. What do you say we look at Tommy Ryan's teammate, Ricky Harden, who's just a couple spots ahead of him, 13th spot. Actually moves up to 12th as the standings cycle around that time after Chris Reagan's pit stop. So Ricky Harden is your sim experience driver profile for this race. He has 9 races in his career in the Retro Series, pair of top 10s. His first start was Watkins Glen last year, season 3. Best finish of 6th at Pocono. That came earlier this year. Never forget, Ricky Harden and Tommy Ryan were part of the first ever Lionheart IndyCar race that I took part in at Homestead, Miami, Brian. This is before you were in the league, and they were going to come across the line in second and third, I believe it was, and whoever was in second, I think it was Tommy, blinked out 50 from the finish line. And dropped. I just heard Sean Ambrose in our ear. People at home can't hear it, but even Sean said, I remember that. Sean, I think, was actually on the broadcast for that race. And Tommy Ryan was 50 feet from second place in the IndyCar series, which is an amazing accomplishment in and of its own to finish on the podium in that series at any track and drop. Like, he didn't just blink. He received throughputed, for those of you iRacing diehards and know what I'm talking about. And it was like, man, do yourself a favor, kid. Don't go outside if there's a thunderstorm, because you've got luck like that, you're probably getting bit. Working lap 13, Chris Reagan's still the only car of the leaders at his pit, so he is definitely trying that strategy on his own, Brian.
I'm watching Matt Taylor up there in the 4th spot. He took a very interesting line from the carousel that time. Kind of like he overdrove the entry, and in the middle just kind of panicked on him. It was kind of interesting to watch. Nothing worth going back and finding. He just threw it to me, and I happened to be watching that. Because that battle for third tends to be, I think it's brewing. I'm not going to call it a full-out issue or a full-out battle yet. Brewing. Because, I mean, Taylor and Bossy they're kind of exchanging lap times little by little, but I think visually you can kind of see that gap closing little by little down here into turn 11. Big close up on braking. Heavy braking foot there from Matt Taylor. As long as he can get that power on the exit, really kind of make sure those tires get hooked up, he can just go. Now, DJ, we're going to call you in here because we got that alternative pit road strategy. I'm going to put you on the spot. So what's the game plan here for Chris Reagan?
What I think Reagan's trying to do is, rather than eke out and try to see if he can make that one stop work, he's guaranteeing himself for 2 stops and getting the least amount of fuel in the car as possible. He only took about 19 laps of fuel when he came in, so he should be in around 39 or 40. And I think he's just trying to minimize the time on pit road. He knows he may have a little bit too heavy of a right foot and can't make one stop work. So that's what I think he's trying to do.
19 laps would be a full tank from where he was at, or close to it. No, I guess he'd be a little short if he took 19 and he came in at 10. So he took about 5 laps short. So I see what DJ is saying there about maybe trying to cut it down. Now, Brian, the thing that we know about this car is if you take tires, and I didn't look to see if Chris took tires, but if you take tires, tire is quicker than fuel, and he did not take tires, I'm being told. But still, I like that, and I like what DJ did there by running the math and figuring out that Chris kind of short pipped the fuel even on that stop versus filling it all the way. So it'll be interesting to keep an eye out. Look at Reagan here, and let's take a look now back up farther in the field and see what Matt Taylor's doing, and he's running down Jason Bossy again.
They drift apart and they come right back together here. It's just been, every time I kind of peek up and look at this battle, they'll be getting close and they'll drift apart. Paulson and Dean Mardi Gras, all two straight. They're definitely not strangers to each other. Both drivers, like we've mentioned before, in the way that the points have laid out, just a lot of them always end up running near each other. So that's where you kind of keep this closeness going. From there, on board though, we are looking just over the left shoulder of Matt Taylor, looking up at classy Jason Bossy there. You see that kind of visual gap closing. Here's another good spot to make up some time if you could really roll this corner right and get the power down yet again on exit. Keep it close through the S's and make a big run down the hill into turn 11. Let's see what he does here. Keep close. Maybe lost a little bit on corner exit there. Sweeping turn 10. If he sends it from here, that's pretty brave. but definitely closing that gap on braking. It's kind of fascinating to watch these two ebb and flow.
Longer Matt Taylor stuck behind Jason Bossi, by the way. The more David Clymer and Mike Rasmus both start to close the gap as well. As you look at them all come up the hill. Aaron Morgan has done a nice job here opening up the gap. Jason Bossi was all over him for a long time, and Aaron Morgan now has about 1 3/4 seconds up on Bossi.
I tell you, just Aaron Morgan is just a professional. He shows up, he does his job. No flash, no frills, and he's just right there. It's fascinating to watch all season long. Just that steady kind of rise. And even beyond the points, I feel like his racecraft has improved throughout the year as well, kind of delivering that more consistent pace. Here, sweeping through the S's. Fun little section on track. Keep an eye on this battle. He's a lot closer this time.
Jason Bossi got a little loose there. He might have caught too much curb. Taylor taking advantage of it, but he might be able to cross him over here. Nah, he got a little hot. The black tracks out of Taylor's car. He just got a little bit too hot there. Boy, Jason Bossi almost kissed the wall on the corner exit. And don't look now, but here's Clymer. Clymer's there. And Rasmus might as well be.
And now this battle, it's kind of interesting because you're watching Clymer and Rasmus get backed up. Because this is kind of the original Truly train before Richie Hurd and the other driver had, whoever, I can't remember right now. Because remember, Richie and the other guy were up there. And then after the caution, or after Richie got spun out, that split this up for a bit. And now they're all kind of coming back together. Lap time wise, it's just kind of looking at Chris Reagan. We spent a lot of time there talking about it. DJ mentioned, kind of that alternative strategy. Run a pretty competitive lap time. It's not quite leader pace, but better than kind of where he was running at. Kind of that back end of the top 10 speed wise.
It's interesting though, because he was in this group, remember, before Richie got spun. And so in one sense, in one sense, it might have worked for Chris in that he might have run into that wreck, so to speak. But on the other sense, I'm looking at his lap times he has. I was expecting him to be quicker than these cars, and he's slower. So I almost wonder if not having, that carrot to chase, so to speak. I don't know about you, but for me, at least on a road course. Now, I'm not a great road course racer. I'll be the first one to tell you that. But so for me on a road course, I always drive better when I have, somebody to chase who is fast. Like if you put me in 5th in a road course, I can chase the top 4, and I might not be able to stay with them, but I'll be pretty good. But you put me in 18th, and all of a sudden I look like an 18th place car. And Chris Reagan's kind of got some of that going on right now. Now, in that same sense, he's also catching some lap cars, so that'll be interesting to watch. If we get a chance to check in on Chris here, he's caught George Anzaldo and Tommy Ryan and Travis Jagerlener, and that in itself could be a bit of a mess. See, Mike Rasmus has now also joined this party up here. And don't look now, but Jason Bossi's actually cut some time off of Aaron Morgan's gap over the last 2 laps, so they're starting to slowly reel in second.
And just kind of watching it all come back together yet again. For you Ryan Otis fans, he is still here. He is still leading. Matt Taylor diving to pit road.
Boy, and he that was a late move, as to not let anybody know.
It was about as late as I think he could successfully pull that maneuver off.
Get our pit reporter, DJ Clark, to keep an eye on Matt Taylor and see how that pans out for him here. You're looking at Taylor just creeping around.
Pit road speed is Radiohead here this week.
I'm going to be honest, I don't get that reference.
The song Creep.
Gotcha.
Or TLC, Creep,
No, I like Radiohead. We're good.
All right,
Keep it there.
Radiohead.
Great song.
Right.
Great song. I just get.
Oh,
Taylor coming out.
He came out. that was interesting. He came out right in front of Finian, and there was kind of that awkward jostle heading up the hill. Yeah,
Take another look.
It's like when you get on the you get out of or you're merging onto the expressway, and you have that awkward moment when you make eye contact with the person to your right or to your left. It's like,
Matt Taylor
I'm
did
coming. Are you?
by the way.
Are you coming? Am I here? Yep. Okay. Yep. Okay. No, you take it. No, I got it. No, you. All right. Yep. Okay, we're good.
Yeah, I had an excursion on the first pit stop last night. In the IndyCar, it turns out new tires don't turn. And so I came off a pit road and got to the top of the hill, and then I got to count how many lizards I could find in this dirt. She turned to pit road.
Yeah, I think we're reaching that point here. We're going to figure out who's going 2 stops, who's trying to go 1. Let's go take a look at Ryan. I just, I said that he's in this race, and I sensed that people didn't believe me. I mean, it is 2020, and here's the scientific evidence that you cannot dispute that Ryan Otis is, in fact, in this race on the HyperX onboard camera, 7.5 seconds in the win.
And he is, in fact, still very good at road courses.
He is socially distancing everybody.
Oh, boy, Richie Hearn just had a moment coming out of the pits as well. Same thing. He came out with Tommy Ryan, and we just about wadded up 3 cars. Another look at Richie Hearn coming off the pit road. But there's just something about popping out at the same time as a car you've been much faster than all race. Ryan Otis, by the way, had just jumped on the radio. Made me think that he might have been coming to pit road, but he did not. I think he was actually saying thank you. Yes. Adam Young got out of the way for him. Okay. Bossy David Clymer. Battle for P3. Heating up. Mike Rasmus is there as well.
This one's going to come down to pit stops. We can try to piss each other off.
That's where the Matt Taylor aggressiveness getting off a pit road might really pay off, because he was able to distance himself from a lap.
He came off a pit road and ran a 22.43. They're running 22.92s right now. Bossy and Clymer and Rasmus, they're all kind of hovering in that 22 bracket. Yeah, Matt Taylor, he might be going for the long play there, and then just throw a little dash at the end and hope for the best.
Ryan Otis stays out. Aaron Morgan stays out. Jason Bossy in. Clymer and Rasmus out. So a 2-stopper for Bossy for sure.
And see, and now Clymer has been freed because he's been trapped behind. He's been trapped behind Bossy this whole race. So now let's see what Clymer.
Oh, look at this up the hill, though. We're watching this in pit row. Boy, Rasmus was peaking. I keep my eye on Clymer and Rasmus really thought about it as we look now, and then thought better of it, I think. I'm here to tell you right now, up the hill is not a passing zone.
I mean, any zone is a passing zone.
Yeah, I guess any corner is a passing zone in theory, but it's not a recommended one. How about that?
I mean, listen, do we pay attention to the recommended doses?
Here's Bossy coming out. Will he get out clean? He will. And so that could be important. Here's the real question. Where's Matt Taylor compared to Jason Bossy? Answer. Behind him with a car in between, Ricky Harden. Ooh. Jason Bossy actually clicks off some time on Matt Taylor.
Well, and I remember the thing with this car and heavy fuel, it almost kind of works against you from a strategy standpoint as well. Because the car
Aaron Morgan
full tank fuel. Aaron Morgan's in.
Mike,
but that heavy fuel load, it's hard to overcome that.
Clymer stays out. Otis stays out. Morgan and Rasmus are in. Little Train is in. Bruno Miranda stays out. What does James Paulson do? He comes to pit road, but Mardi Gras stays out. So we're splitting this here. And then you get to the first car's pit, and Jason Bossi just coming down the hill. Rasmus into his stall. Aaron Morgan is away with a much quicker stop than Rasmus as well. So Morgan up out of the corner. Rasmus does not jump Bossi. Bossi comes out in front. And now let's watch our leader, Ryan Lotus, because he's coming down the hill. Does he peel off here? If he doesn't, I think he can one-stop this, Yaz, but he's coming. Ryan Lotus to pit road.
With the lead and the pace that he has, why risk it?
Now the question's David Clymer, and he's also coming.
Bruno is the next one I see.
Bruno's also coming.
Yep. All right, Dean Mardi Gras. Come on, buddy. Yeah, Mardi Gras staying out. Not surprising. Mardi Gras has marched to the beat of his own drum in strategy several times this year already.
Remember Imola last year, Yaz, when Mardi Gras got on everybody's radar when he managed to go, him and Travis Jagerlander went like a lap or two farther than anybody thought you could, and they stole podium finishes from everybody else.
See?
Heimer and Morgan still going at it.
That's
Morgan
has
on to
that
second.
advantage.
Take a look at them coming out of pit road.
Let's take a look at this glorious camera work by Sean Ambrose.
David Clymer had the pit stop of a lifetime here. He must have short pit on fuel.
Clymer, yeah, 6.5 versus 7.
And he almost got Aaron Morgan. Almost.
And I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for the meddling kids. They just give you line for every villain ever. No, I'm the only person that gets that reference. All right, moving on.
The reference, I'm watching Mardi Gras. Is this the lap for Mardi Gras is the question. It is. Dean Mall in second place. I was like, man, boy, if Dean Mall goes another lap here, Ryan Otis better start checking his mirrors.
I mean, I'm going to say, listen, if Mardi Gras made it one more lap, I'm saying he needs to go to post-race tactic because I have a hunch there's some extra fuel line in there somewhere.
Mardi Gras, the last car in. Actually, I'm showing Ricky Harden has not pit yet. Is that accurate, Yaz?
That is accurate what I'm seeing.
And he's still on the track? That doesn't seem possible.
Well, we are only halfway.
I'm literally backing Ricky Harden's race up now to see if maybe this was
hasn't. There's no
glitch
way.
in our time. And you're right, he is not. Neither is Tommy Ryan.
Well,
Boy, what do
okay.
those two know?
Well, unacceptable racing has always been the one that can stretch fuel the furthest for as long as I've been racing around those guys for about 5 years. Sorry, I moved the microphone away from my face. That usually doesn't help when you have to talk into it. So sorry for you folks at home. Yeah, rip headphone users that were already turning me up, and then bam. But anyways, Tommy Ryan, Ricky Hart, unacceptable racing. Like I said, I've been racing around those guys for quite a number of years. Always able to get that extra little bit out of the fuel tank. So I guess shame on us for overlooking them here. And Harden to pit road. I can't imagine that Tommy's going to be too far behind him. Tommy Two-Toe. 8.675 309. Anyways, back to racing action. Not just listen to bald fat man in his mid-30s ramble on. Good Zeppelin song, too. Take a look at the battle for P2 here. Aaron Morgan, David Clymer working their way through the back half of the circuit through the S's. Clymer being able to stay right close to the rear wing of Morgan.
Otis is
real close there, yeah.
at about 7.5 seconds over these guys.
So Clymer, take a peek. Look at this GSRC chopper cam right here. Oh, nope, we're going to go to the nose cam. Good camera here, too. You can see from the nose cam, don't worry about it, Sean. This is great because now you can see that undulation of the track that Jason and I were talking about. Oh! Yeah, if he made that stick, I'm just going to say that Clymer's going to show USPS postage on the car just for that ability to send it there. Tyson Landis has disconnected as well as the cloud cover overtakes us here in Sonoma.
Tyson Landis came to pit road and sat there for like 2 minutes. I don't know if maybe he was just like, nope, I'm good. And boy, you're right. The afternoon rain showers from the Bay are got to be creeping in here in a minute.
Ooh, let's take a look back there. Jason Bossy, Mike Rasmus. Rasmus going the long way around. Can he make it stick? Woo!
Ooh, that's a great move.
That was beautiful.
Yeah,
let's go take a second look at that one. The long way around in that corner, you shouldn't pass that. Mike Rasmus says, hold my beer. Watch this.
How did that stick? You see how much speed he carried on the outside? Oh, Bossy's coming in the hairpin. Boy,
he got it back.
Bossy just licked the stamp. Rasmus.
Oh, side by side.
And Taylor's there as well.
Oh, whoa. How's this going to work up the hill, boys?
Asimus loses the rear end. Bossy trying to get him back.
What you just saw right there is for anybody who's played F1 2020 and you've gone to Vietnam and you get the first DRS zone and you make that pass and then you come around the corner and there's the next DRS zone. That's just kind of what happened right there. Ooh, Bossy put the tire off as well.
What track was that at?
I said Vietnam. Vietnam, sorry.
Dumbass.
It's Northern Michigan accent shines through sometimes.
That upper P.
Excuse me? The upper P. That's bolster territory.
Yeah, well. Oh, are you not quite that far?
No. Just like in life, I'm just a little shorter.
Gotcha. Well, you're like 6'5".
Yeah. If I'm leaving the convenience store with police escort, sure.
Yeah, Clymer's looking second. Clymer's gonna get second. Can Morgan drag race him off? No, not even close. David Clymer. Power move. Well, he used the pit cycle to get close, and then he took advantage, and David Clymer up to P2. 4 spots gained for Clymer in this one after starting 6th. Oh, Jason Bossy's around. Bossy's around at the top of the hill. All by himself.
Look at what happened here. Just putting a tire off? Yep.
What it was. Boy, Matt Taylor had the change your pants moment of the race right there. Bossy slides back, and I'm showing him currently in the 7th position, so he loses 2 spots on the end. And he's got Richie Hearn right behind him now, and Little Train for that matter. In fact, Richie just got around Little Train.
Richie trying to march back up to the front after the coming together that he had earlier on in his race.
Ryan Otis crosses the stripe, working lap 30 of 50 here in the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma. And with that, we'll take a commercial break, go pay some bills. Everybody got a chance, go get a refill on your libations and come on back and join us. We got a barn burner going for some of these spots here. The top 10 is going to be a crazy finish from wine country. You're watching HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma on the iRacing Esports Network and Global SimRacing Channel. The Lionheart Racing Series, powered by HyperX, makers of premier gaming gear like the legendary ultra comfortable Cloud line of gaming headsets. Whatever you play, however you play, HyperX knows we are all gamers. For more information, head on over to hyperxgaming.com and don't forget your promo code LionHRT15 for 15% off of your orders. Welcome back to Sonoma Raceway here, wine country, Northern California, just north of the San Francisco Bay. I'm Jason Galvin alongside of the banker, Brian Yatsuk, DJ Clark on pit road, Sean Ambrose directing here tonight. And this is the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma, the iRacing Esports Network and the Global SimRacing Channel. Halfway through the Lionheart Retro Series presented by DMLC Racing Channel season, and you're currently watching a battle between Jason Bossy and Richard Hearn, Richie, as we know him here at GSRC. Battle for 7th and 8th place between classy Jason Bossy and the former IndyCar Series race winner, Richie Hearn, as they head on down and off to the carousel. 18 laps left in this one. Ryan Otis gets to the start-finish line. Pretty much a two-stop race for everybody at this point, although Ricky Harden and Tommy Ryan, it looked like, might be able to stretch this into a one-stopper. And gonna have to keep our eye on Mardi Gras Dean Mall as well as this one winds down. And that's what could really throw a wrinkle into the cars running in the top 10 right now, showing that we have 19 cars currently on the lead lap. Georgian's Auto, the last car on the lead lap. In fact, the only cars that are laps down are cars that have had incidents so far. Adam Young, Scott Holmes is out, Tyson Landis is also out. Ryan Corns did not take the flag, as Aaron Morgan just ran fastest lap on the racetrack. Up the hill they come with Richie and Bossy, and that's where Bossy spun earlier, Brian.
Yeah. So, it's when you get burned like that, you really have to talk yourself back out to it. From the driver's seat, you really have to work that momentum back up, that confidence to be able to know that, not every time I'm going to go out there and spin out. It was just because of X, Y, and Z. At least he's been able to hold that out, taking a very wide entry there to the carousel, sweeping down, focusing on the exit, but Richie keeping right there as well. Not close enough to make a move, but just close enough to keep that pressure up.
Chris Reagan coming to pit road. Remember, he short pit on the first session. Came in on lap 10. And let's bring our pit reporter, DJ Clark, back in, because DJ, you were running the math on Chris, and you thought he might be able to stretch this one even further, but it looks like you're right. He is absolutely going with shortest amount of time on pit road. Is that right?
Yeah, that's what it looks like. He's just trying to get the minimal amount of time on pit road, so this is more than likely going to be his last stop. As 17-18 to go, he can make that.
Pulling in right now is Chris Reagan, the drag racing motorcycle rider and also a racing school coach. He works with Richie Hearn out there. Forget off the top of my head which of the schools they work at. Spring Mountain, that's what it is. I know it was one of them out there. That's a pretty cool little facility they have out there. That's just north of Las Vegas, if I recall, up in the foothills. Richie Hearn and Chris Reagan both work there. Chris has look, I've driven real race cars. It's a lot of fun. Chris drag races motorcycles. So in the big cojones department, Chris is like James and the Giant Peach.
Yeah, that's something you won't see me doing. That's for, I mean, well, first
I was
of all,
like,
I could fit on.
Gotta be able to ride a
those
motorcycle,
bikes.
Brian, before you can drag race it.
Yeah.
Taylor in the pit row. Matt Taylor in his series debut pits out of the top 5. Final time on pit road for Taylor.
Big footnote there, Reg, with a longer stop. Yeah, let's take back a look here. Bossy and Hearn. Bossy, he's just driving with the elbows out, hanging out over the high walls there. I mean, turn 2 up there. He's almost drifting it on exit. Really hustling this car around to keep Richie back there. Richie taking that look again on the inside, going through the carousel. Richie's internet coming, going. He's back now. Just stalking Jason Bossy. Not close enough to keep that move, but I mean, he is just not leaving him alone. There's a great camera angle. Looking off the back, you see just how hard it is to shake the former IndyCar driver. Might be close enough this time. You see Bossy take the defensive line. Richie take the aggressive line, coming back, sweeping, maybe a crossover, trying to put that power down on exit, but give it back to Bossy.
Richie all the way out there. Could have stuck his hand out the cockpit and drug his fingers. Oh, he's going to try to make a move up the hill. Look at this. Richie Hearn looking inside into 1, and he's on the brakes. Look out! Boy, I think if Richie's internet doesn't cut out, I might have just lost them both.
That end is in tears for both of them.
And that was the most fortuitous blink in the history of iRacing. Richie Hearn's internet was like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. Hang on, I got you, fam.
Lip Train is right there now in this battle as well. We've not talked much about him, but he's quietly just run around in the top 10. By the way, all right, I hate to do this, but we're inside of 15 to go, so I feel like we can...
I know what you're going to do, I think.
Yeah. Let's see if Sean can slide on back to the 9th position.
I knew it. I knew it.
59, Sean. Let's take a look. He's on his way. Bruno! There's our boy Bruno, the Brazilian in P9 ahead of James Paulson. He's behind Matt Taylor, who's already pit. So that should tell you how Matt's pit cycles worked out there. But Bruno, even after he pits, Chris Reagan behind him there, he should still have a shot at a top 10.
Believe so. Climber on pit road?
Climber has pit.
Climber on pit road. Shout out there to Bruno Moran. He's got a couple fans that tune in and watch.
Yes, it does. From Brazil.
Brazil.
I gotta figure out what part of Brazil Bruno's from, because it turns out Brazil's really big climber. Hang on, whoa, boy. I was talking about how big Brazil was, and David Clymer was like, Galvin, we don't need geography lessons. Let me show you how to half spin in turn 1. And he somehow saved it. But boy, that cost him some time for sure.
I mean, I'm not going to say that that was a full-out, you know, sideways moment, but Vin Diesel caught the attention of him right there. Drift. That was a bad joke. I'm sorry, everybody. That was just bad.
Jason Bossi. Do you think Jason Bossi is going to end this race? I mean, he's going to go to bed, and his wife's going to look at him and be like, honey, why is your head tilted up? And I'm looking in the rearview mirror.
Oh, got to take the defensive route coming off 10 there. Richie going to try to earn it the hard way. Crossing over.
Tight.
Get it.
But you basically, when you're stuck on the inside like that, you basically have to block on corner exit. And now Richie up the hill again. He's going to look again. He is.
Oh.
He's going to look.
Hold on to it, boys.
Thinking. That time much better. Oh, Richie got out there and kicked up a little dust.
Just every inch of facility that he could get them tires to grip on.
Richie's got a Luke Bryan going on the background, and Richie Hearn just got a warning for his connection. No, that's not Richie Hearn. That was Travis Jagerleiner, of all people, who ironically I went to, and he's not here anymore. Wow, boy, you talk about race control being on it. Warning for 44 for connection. I click on Travis, and he drops out of the race with internet. Which is really unfortunate for Travis. You talk about one of the good guys. We haven't talked about Travis a lot this year. He's had a little rougher go of it this season than we're used to. Usually he's really strong in this car on road courses. But, man, I was teammates with Travis for 2 years, and you talk about just a heck of a guy. I mean, Travis Jagerleiner, first-class person. Dustin Wardlow and George Gonzalez going at it? Nope, Dustin Wardlow just drove by him. Oh, but he's got Finian right in front of him. Let me tell you, George Gonzalez is like the hardest guy in iRacing to pass. I'm convinced of that after last night. On board with Wardlow, the Candyman, DeWars Candy, and the HyperX onboard camera as he tries to go and get Finian. That's P15 in front of him.
Close enough here. Trying to maybe build that head of steam working towards turn 11. Keeping that nice. I like that line he's got through there just before the S's. Keep the speed, keep the momentum going. Get real aggressive there through 10, caught too much of the curving and kind of threw the momentum off as that battle just kind of settles out yet again.
On board with Jason Bossi, and this is our de facto turn racing on board for this race, P3. Richie Hearn out the back. Little trains there as well. You can see him. You see a bunch of other cars coming down into the hairpin behind them. That was Clymer and Morgan. Should tell you how far back they are in this battle right now. Clymer and Morgan, of course, have already hit pit road 2 times. Everybody else, for the most part, just 1.
Tell you what, 2 drivers this whole race just not able to get away from each other. David Clymer, Aaron Morgan. That battle just keeps ramping up yet again.
But take a look, Aaron Morgan. This is the 7th position, but it should, in theory, be the battle for 2nd. In theory. Oh,
no!
Oh, keep it off the wall. He wins.
He's got it.
Aaron Morgan in the carousel center around. Brian Yazik not getting a Christmas card from Aaron Morgan. You had to point it out, didn't you?
I did.
Let's take a look at the replay of that one if we get a chance as we No, we're not. We're moving on. We're not gonna jinx Aaron Morgan anymore. All right, down through the S's we go. This is what is this? 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th. Chris Reagan, James Paulson, Aaron Morgan's ahead of them. Bruno Miranda's behind them. Oh no. Sean, don't do it to Bruno. Oh, look at this. Reagan inside of Paulson. James Paulson's gonna let him go, it looks like.
Race the racetrack there. Smart.
Well, I've kept my eyes on Dustin Wartlow, Brian, since we went back there, and man, Dustin, I feel like I'm watching my IndyCar race from last night. You just spend like 10 laps behind a car where you know if you got around them, you would just be checked out in 2 laps, but it's taking you 10 to get around them. Same thing happening right now for the Candyman. That's Finney and DeCunha in front of him. It's not a knock on Finney. It's just Dustin was a top 10 car and had a little bit of an issue early on. He's been battling back, but man, every time he gets close, he gets close in the passing zone, but not close enough to make the move, and then you're stuck spending the rest of the lap trying to set it up again.
That's just Sonoma. You work up to get to a spot that you can make a move. Something throws it off, and you have to reset and just go right back at it.
Yeah, I'm thinking that car to make some sort of mistake. It doesn't have to be catastrophic. It doesn't have to be a spin, but they kind of slow down. Mike Rasmus is in. Mike Rasmus is out. Turn is in. Pit stops galore. 8.5 laps left in this one. Richie Hearn comes out. Aaron Morgan got clear of Richie Hearn despite his spin.
Battle back here. We talked about it earlier. Finian and the Candyman, Dustin Wardlow, battle for the 15th spot. Finian just being able to hold it off just enough. Oh, no. I'm done talking for the day.
Brian has turned into Jinx City.
God almighty.
Dustin Wardlow picks up the spot. Boy, you gotta tell you what, you know the most relieved driver on planet Earth is right now? Dustin Wardlow is like, man, finally.
Maybe I'll get a Christmas card from Dustin.
Jason Bossy, pardon me, is on pit road. Maybe Dustin will send you some DeWar's chews for that one. Bossy off. Let's see how this cycles out. That was Aaron Morgan that just went around. And he comes out between Morgan and Richie Hearn. Wow. Oh, Richie, hang on. Richie put the wheel off. Oh, geez. Chris Reagan is about to catch the back of that battle as well, the way it's going.
Oh, Bossy overshot the entry to the corner. That's going to bring Richie right back up to him into the carousel. Right to the inside.
No, Richie, what a move.
Oh, there
what if Bossy's around? Oh, man. Classy.
Grab a gear.
Man, Jason Bossy tried to undercut him.
While Bruno back there is just holding on to his rosary, sorry.
Maybe both.
Both. I mean, that was just all of a sudden the car just said, whoop.
Too much wheel. You know how this car works.
Here,
Oh, I tell you what, Chris Reagan had to be like, please don't hit me. Let's take another look. Look at this. Whoa! Look at the wheel movement. Boy, this car does not like that either. Oh, boy, we've all been caught out by that car with quick movements, and Chris Reagan somehow hung out. Look at Bruno. Bruno is all over Bossy up the hill. Man. Bruno smells blood.
James Paulson on pit road.
Bruno forgot a pit, so you shouldn't be smelling too much, I guess. Hey, by the way, Ryan Otis is still your race leader by
Lotus up there.
seconds. Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Whoa, Bossy! Bossy's around. No, he hung on. Oh, man, boy, we went away. We went away from it. Jason Bossy, he just Tokyo drifted the whole carousel. Wow.
Bruno just sneaks by.
Bruno had to be thinking to himself, like, not again. Not this is right here. Bruno's like, not again. Not again.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death.
How much does it cost me to send a box of shoes to Brazil? I gotta ask that. I feel like we owe that to Bruno at this point. Man, I tell you what, Bossy did a hell of a job saving that car. Can I say that? On the internet.
And I'm watching, I'm looking at, paying attention. Andrew Kinsella had setup builder here for Lionheart's in the chat. And he says Bossy has just cooked his tires at this point. I would agree with that. I would say he's definitely not over easy cooked on the tires.
Factual analysis from Andrew Kinsella. Sharp people. Andrew Kinsella, man. Wish I had half the IQ he had. I'd be okay in life. What's Little Train doing?
I'll take a third.
Wow. Little Train in P2. Is he going to pit? That's the question.
Got to be right here. Yep.
Right? Here it is.
Now that's going to cycle
Mike
Climber? No.
Rasmus to P2. He has pit twice.
How did that happen?
Because he's Mike Rasmus, dude.
That's
this is
why.
What's happened with every Mike Rasmus race so far.
I think what he did was a lot of clever driving, and I think he undercut Climber just on pure lap time alone.
Retro Series at Indy on the road course, and we're like, where'd he come from? Retro Series at Indy on the oval, where'd he come from? Mike Rasmus.
Mike the Magician.
Where'd he come from more?
Magician, can we settle on that one?
Boy. Little Train going way.
Oh, Richie goes off.
Richie! Man.
Oh, come on, boys.
Boy, and then Richie and Reagan are going at it.
Oh, boy.
Down the hill.
There you go.
Hey, teammates, same team. Teammates.
Oh, Chris, here we go to the carousel. The fireworks aren't over yet, I'm imagining.
Man, this is like when the general manager of the Win and the Encore get together to compare who had higher room rates last month. Ryan Otis to pit road.
And down and away.
Ryan Otis has a 3-lap lead as he exits pit. No, I'm just kidding. It feels like that. Ryan Otis off a pit road with a 30-plus second lead. One day I'd like to know what it's like to be as fast as Ryan Otis on a road course. Just once. Makes me want to drive up to Oregon just so I can watch him for 5 laps and figure out why I suck so much. All right, let's check in with some of those cars that might be trying to one-stop this. What do you say? Bruno Miranda is on the pit road. So that leaves us with Ricky Hart in 11th. He got around Mardi Gras in 12th, and Tommy Ryan is in 14th. And I'm just going to tell you right now, everybody in front of them has already pit twice. So the one-stop undercut has not worked too well. Ricky's going to get to the top 10 there. They go around Bruno. In fact, Bruno's just coming out.
Okay.
So Ricky Harden's in 10th, Dean's in 11th, James Paulson moved to 12th, Bruno.
Oh, Ricky Harden! Ricky Harden off in the grass, the sand, right in front of the carousel.
Oh, Dustin Wardlow.
I'll give you a guess of what happened. Yeah, exactly.
But look at the front of Ricky's car, and unless this is a netcode deal on my end, nope, it came back.
Yeah, it looks fine on mine.
Did it? That's okay, yeah. On my computer, it net coded away the right front wing for a little bit, and He's got a little bit of damage, but not nearly as bad as losing the right front, which, needless to say, would have pretty much ended his one-stop strategy. Although you can't fix the front wing in this car. You will just have to live with it. 3 laps to go. Free leader Ryan Otis.
Ryan Otis setting the fastest lap of the race, a 1:20.89. Goodness gracious. That is impressive.
Mike Rasmus down to the 121 O's behind him as well. Anybody who says the second place for Rasmus isn't deserved.
On board.
You gotta talk to Mike after here as we go on board with him here, Brian. You gotta ask him, because you end up with this interview, how much work he's putting in before these races. Because those lap times, like, it almost makes me wonder, you know, is he just showing up and going? And if he is, you know, God bless him. But man, if he ever put a night into practice, Ryan Otis might have some shivers going down his spine. Sage Karam for that matter too. Because his times are not that far off of Otis.
No, I mean, right on top of it. And remember, you know, he is looking over at the chat again, and I would agree with Andrew Kinsella has made the assessment that Rasmus is the driver of the day, and I'm going to agree with that. From 7th to 2nd on a track that you can't pass at. And plus, I just want to keep calling him Mike the Magician because I feel like that works, and I'm going to make that stick.
Andrew Kinsella had a great run last night. Finished 3rd, I believe.
Absolutely. He had Adam Blocker, 2nd, 3rd. Josh Chin getting his first win.
Josh Chin got his first Lionheart win. Yeah, great run for Chin last night. In fact, Chin and Blocker had a hell of a battle coming down to the Bruno and Tommy.
Come on, Bruno. White flag lap as well, boys.
Ryan Otis has taken the white flag. Boy, Ryan Otis is so far ahead of everybody that we're watching 2 to go for everybody else.
Rasmus just snatched back fastest lap.
120.7 for Mike Rasmus. Wow. Ryan Otis coming down the S's. Our apologies once again to Butt Kicker and Graphics and all those companies that support Ryan Otis, HPP, the SCCA time trials autocross superstar will come across the line and take the checkered flag, and Ryan Otis for the first time in Sonoma and for the 7th time in his career will win in the Lionheart Retro Series. Ryan Otis wins HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma. Mike Rasmus comes home 2nd on the podium again. Battle for 3rd is going to go to David Clymer, with Matt Taylor coming home in 4th in his series debut. 5th place to Aaron Morgan. Little Train in 6th. Richie Hearn comes home 7th. Chris Reagan out of the hairpin looking for 8th place, and he'll take that. Jason Bossie's coming down the S's right now in 9th, and Ricky Harden got around Dean Mall this lap. That's the battle for 10th. In fact, we might want to check in on that, see if those cars are all going to make it. Dean Mall is in hardcore fuel-saving mode. The question is, can Ricky make it? Ricky Harden does. 10, Ricky Harden. Dean's out.
Oh!
Dean is out. Paulson gets there in 11th. Can Dean hang on to 12th? No!
Oh!
Bruno and Tommy Ryan both steal spots from Dean Mall in the last lap, and Dustin Wardlow ends up a half a second short of doing it. And that's how this one comes to an end. Ryan Otis, your defending series champion, takes the win again on a road course, and we'll talk to him. Your points leader by a bunch now. When we return, this is the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma on the iRacing Esports Network and the Global SimRacing Channel. Welcome back to Wine Country, Sonoma, California, Northern California, and the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma is in the books. This is the HyperX post-race show, the Lionheart Racing Series powered by HyperX. When you're trying to claw your way to the top of the podium, it pays to have an ultra-comfortable, high-quality headset. It gives you the audio information you need. Grab the checkered flag. From high-performance DRAM and SSDs to outstanding microphones, accurate mice, responsive keyboards, and of course the legendary Cloud line of gaming headsets. HyperX makes the gaming gear you need to succeed, casual or pro. No matter your creed, color, or culture, we're all gamers, and HyperX is always ready to game. Use the promo code LionHRT15 at HyperXGaming.com. LionHRT15 at HyperXGaming.com. And if you don't have a pair of HyperX headphones for this next segment, fear not, because we're going to turn things over to the Turn Racing finishing order so that you can just see and read the race results. Turn Racing merging the gap between real and sim racing. Promo codes Lionheart10 at turnracing.com. Ryan Otis, for the 8th time in his career in the Retro Series, has found victory lane here, and he does so for the first time at Sonoma by 14 seconds over Mike Rasmus, who just continues to be like, knock, knock, boys. I'm coming at some point. Second place for Rasmus. He's 3 for 3 in podium finishes. How about David Clymer? Great run for David Clymer, the Indy winner last year, up there in third place. Matt Taylor, his series debut, comes home in fourth between Mike Rasmus and Matt Taylor. We have added some quality talent to this series over the last month or so. Aaron Morgan overcomes the spin that would have put him in fourth to finish fifth, so worse things could have happened for him. Little Train, Lionel Kalisto with Richie Hearn, Chris Reagan, Jason Bossy, despite his tough last third of that race, and Ricky Harden, the one-stopper, sneaks into the top 10, yes?
And then we've got James Paulson there in the 11th spot with Bruno in the 12th spot. Tommy Ryan 13th. Dean Mardi Gras just needed a solo cup full of gasoline to make it to the end there, finishing 14th. 15th to the Candyman Dustin Wardlow after a nice little recovery there. Finian in 16th with Paul Jenkins in 17th. Series founder George Anzaldo there in the 18th spot with 19th going to Travis Jagerliner. Adam Forever Young in 20th. 21st going to Scott Holmes. Tyson Landis in 22nd, rounding out the field. And Ryan Corns didn't grid, qualified, but so that's where he's generating there. And you know what? We've got everybody ready to go. Jason, let's talk to the winner.
Let's talk to the winners. We head down to the Sim Experience Victory Lane. Sim Experience AccuForce steering system is the most advanced tuning features on the market. The AccuForce Direct Drive is second only to the real thing. Check out the entire Sim Experience line of products. Head on over to simexperience.com. Your defending series champion is Oregon's own Ryan Otis, the autocross superstar. And Ryan, had to feel a little bit like an autocross race out there tonight. Every time you went around the track, you're just looking around like, I guess I'm out here all alone, all by myself. Man, a dominant display from you in this one at a very, very tough track. Congratulations.
Oh, thanks, man. You know it. Yeah, boy, this track is just exhausting to drive. It's like autocrossing for, an hour straight. It's it's definitely not an easy one. I gotta give a shout out to Mike Rasmus for coming through the field and getting second. I was watching kind of things going on behind me in the relative display every time I get on a little straight, and I was like, oh man, he's fast. And I think he even got fastest lap at the end there. So that was a great drive by Mike.
Yeah, Brian and I were talking. I'm gonna make Brian ask him this about how much time Mike is able to put in ahead of time, because as you know, and we all know by now, Mike has extensive experience in this car and open setup leagues, and I'm wondering if Mike is, because he runs so many other things, not getting a lot of practice put into this. Because man, it feels like if he ever got some real practice or got used to these fixed setup stuff quicker, you and Sage would have to start looking in your rearview mirror.
Oh, no doubt. Yeah, he's got speed for sure. I think I'd seen him earlier in the week in one of the practice sessions, and he was faster than I was in the session that I joined. And I was like, oh man, he's fast. So yeah, he did a great job. I think he probably would have preferred to qual a little better, but that was impressive for sure. And he was slowly catching me at the end, and I was kind of weighing the risk of trying to go for fastest lap, and then also trying not to crash, because I was kind of already on the ragged edge of as fast as I could go. So yeah, kudos to him. That was a great drive.
Big win for you, and maybe more importantly for you, second and third in points, not here tonight. And I've not looked enough at George Sandman's season, although he was 101 points behind you. But Sage, who was 9 points behind you coming into this race, I know has already had a couple of really bad races, not really by his own doing, but just with incidents, and he had a connection problem in one of them. So you have not really had to use a drop, so to speak. Sage has now had a couple of bad races and then was not able to be here tonight. And I think he might miss another race during Real Life Indy 500. So I know we're still super early in the year, and as the defending champion, you know enough about this not to look too far into the future, but you've got to be feeling pretty good with the way things are shaking out right now.
Yeah, I mean, so far I felt like I've had pretty solid runs in most of the races. I think on average, Sage is definitely been faster than me at most of the road courses. And I always love racing with him, so I'm kind of bummed he's not here. today, even though he probably would have beaten me. I always love racing with him, and I did hear he got engaged, so I got to say congrats to Sage if he's watching.
I heard that as well. Yes, certainly congratulations to Sage Karam. Ryan, another great run for you here tonight. Another victory on a road course. Another great season shaking up for you. And I got some bad news for you, though. Are you ready for this?
Uh-oh.
Yeah, and I know that you're not going to be crazy about this, okay? But the next 4 races are all on ovals.
Aww.
Wait, I can't even count. The next 5 races. Boy, how did that happen? The next 5 races are all on ovals.
Hey, I'm better at the ovals than I used to be.
You are. That wasn't a knock on your oval skills.
I used to be not so great.
It's just not the guaranteed podium for you.
Oh,
so,
for sure, yeah. Anything can happen there.
I tell you what, you want to make a switch in any one of those races, you can come call them and I'll jump in the car, all right?
All right, 10-4.
Congratulations, Ryan. Great job, bud.
No, thanks, man.
Ryan Otis wins here at Sonoma, and Brian Yasek catches up with the driver of the race, according to everybody, including the winner.
Whoa, okay.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
yeah. I was just gonna say, Mike, kind of the wide choice to be the driver of the day, starting 7th, finishing 2nd. I mean, I'm giving you the nickname Mike the Magician because all of a sudden after that last cycle, you just appeared in 2nd. I mean, talk us through your night, man. How did we get from 7th to 2nd on a track that you can't pass at?
I was going to ask you guys the same thing because I actually have no idea whatsoever. I thought I would be fighting for 5th place or something, and then at the end, who was it, Lionel in front of me, and he needed to pit, and then I was in 2nd, and I said, "What happened?" I don't know how that happened.
Well, I mean, that's the easy way here to get to the spot, so that's great. Mike, we noticed from the start of the race, as it kind of progressed towards the end, you kept getting faster and faster and faster. And Jason and I were kind of having the conversation of, well, how much time did you get with the setup and the track ahead of time? Because your race kind of seemed to roll that way, that you were kind of learning through the first half.
Yeah, I think under race conditions, I didn't get to do any of the practice races this week. I practiced last week, and then I was away, so I couldn't join the practice races. So I think for the race, I was a little nervous about how my car was going to behave around other guys, and I wanted to be a little careful. And then once things started opening up, I could push the car again, like I had in practice.
Solid. I mean, that's just the best way to be. We noticed up there in the practice charts, really good. Mike, I mean, just kind of being here with the Lionheart Retro Series and the Lotus 79. We know you from the other series on Sunday. I mean, how much of that? I know it's 2 different leagues and setup wise, but how much of if the fans at home that may recognize you from the Sunday series that's on GSRC here with the Lotus 79. Talk us through some of the differences there between that series and what you're running here tonight.
Well, this week they're at the Nürburgring, like the long Nordschleife.
Okay, so no differences. Got it. No similarities.
Well, I've been practicing there this week, and since it's open setup, our cars are totally out of control in order to get good top speed and stuff like that. So all week I've been driving with my car sideways, trying to figure out how not to spin it. And I think that really helps here, especially at Sonoma, where you can you just have to push every single lap. If you're not pushing, you're going to be losing time. So I think I'm kind of in that mode of just like go hard,
Sounds solid. Any final parting words anybody want to give a shout out to here before we let you on your way?
Yeah, I just want to thank HyperX and George and Ryan Otis for trying to get me into this series because it's been super fun. Everybody's been super nice. So I'm really happy to be here.
All right. That was the voice of Mike Rasmus. Second step on the podium tonight. But DJ, you've caught up with David Clymer for finishing a solid 3rd place tonight as well.
David, good result for you coming back from 6th on the grid, really in the heat of the action the whole time. How was it out there?
Dude, it was a war zone, especially with my own teammates. I spun Richie by accident, and then my teammates spun me. Not to mention, I bounced it off the wall 3 times, and I'm just happy the car finished.
Yeah, it certainly was a little bit of pinball wizard going on out there. How you feeling? I mean, I know last night everybody was complaining about just how physically exhausted they were. Obviously, pinballing like that can't have helped your arms that much.
Yeah, I'm exhausted and stressed out. I mean, accidents happen, but when you bump one of your teammates and one of your teammates bump you, we're all in chat together. It gets a little uncomfortable.
Oh, I can only imagine. I can only imagine that.
It's like accidents happen, but never wreck your teammate.
Yeah, that's my dad used to always tell me that was rule number one of racing.
Yeah.
But as long as you guys can hug and make up at the end of the day, it's good.
Yeah, we were all just chatting in Discord. We're all good. It's just hard racing.
Good, good, good. Well, Motegi's in a week's time. How you feeling for that?
I'll be happy to do some ovals. I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't have thought this year I'd be on the podium twice on road courses and not on ovals at all yet. So it's definitely a weird season.
No, I feel that. Anybody you want to thank before we head on out of here?
Just the usual. Thanks to SimPip for making sim racing fun again, and of course Lionheart for putting on these great races.
All right, wonderful, David, and congratulations again on third place.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, David, and thank you to DJ. That's going to wrap it up for us here from Sonoma. The Lionheart Retro Series wants to thank DMLC Racing Channel. If you're looking for entertaining sim racing content, look no further than the DMLC Racing Channel. Follow 2019 Lionheart Retro Series Driver of the Year, Mark Cohn's racing escapades, his battles for wins, and avoids wrecks with cat-like reflexes, all while providing commentary sure to make you laugh or cry, or maybe a little bit of both. DMLC Racing Channel's on YouTube or Facebook, whichever social media platform you prefer. HyperX, whatever you play, however you play it, HyperX knows we're all gamers. Use the promo code LionHRT15 at HyperX.com. Speaking of promo codes, how about this one for Butt Kicker? Feel what you've been missing. Use the promo code LION2020 at thebuttkicker.com. And our good friends at Sim Experience at the Active Force, second only to the real thing, simexperience.com. You want to contact any of the sponsors, the Lionheart Retro Series, including all these wonderful ones on the speed, and there's even more than that if you can believe it. Great job Georgian's Auto and admins do here. Go ahead and head on over to LionheartRacingSeries.com and click on the sponsors section. The original music we use on GSRC broadcast comes from June Lalonde. If you would like to contact June about any of the music, go ahead and follow the contact info on the page right there. On the screen, some of the other companies that we use here to make sure these broadcasts get to you as professionally as possible. Lionheart Retro Series returns for round number 10. That's August 6th. That's 1 week from tonight. Twin Ring Motegi, GSRC and IESN. You're going to be there. We'll bring all the action. We sure hope you'll join us as well. If you'd like more information about GSRC, including a complete list of broadcasts, head on over to globalsimracingchannel.com. Make sure you follow us on Facebook, on Twitter at GSRC Graham, Instagram as well. Go subscribe to the Global Sim Racing Channel on YouTube. Make sure you subscribe here to the iRacing Esports Network. On behalf of our entire crew tonight, Brian Yazik, DJ Clark, Sean Ambrose, Doug Beard, I'm Jason Galvin. I want to thank all of you for tuning in and watching as Ryan Otis takes the win in the HyperX Grand Prix of Sonoma. Until next time and next week, remember, the only one who remembers when you come home second is your wife and your daughter. Good night.